Okay guys, I've made a cut list for my dinette seat, which you can see here. Now this will be a little extra thing that I've got planned for it, so when I've got it all together and working, I'll show you what that is. It's just something different I haven't seen done before, so I'm fingers crossed that it'll work. Anyway, I've got all the cuts that I need, and I've got the plywood. I'm using 17 mil ply. So now I've just got to go ahead and cut it, and we'll then join it all together. So hopefully that will make our seat, and hopefully everything will work fine. Alright, we've cut all the pieces for our seat, the first part of it. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to join them all together. I've just got a right angle clamp to make sure it clamps up. I'm going to do some countersunk holes through it. Then I've got some Gorilla Wood some Gorilla Wood glue to use on the joints, and I'm using these timber screws. They're countersunk, they're 40 mil, so this is 19 mil. I thought it was 17 mil, but I must have grabbed the 19 mil one. Anyway, so it's 19, so it'll go and hold an extra 20 odd mil in, so that should work out fine. Just make sure when you're joining your pieces, you join them right side. Now I had this on this side here, and when I checked the square it was out a mile, so I measured up on either side because it should be 600 each side, and this to here was 620, so I knew I was out somewhere, and that's what it was. I put this on this side instead of it being the way it is there, so now I've just got to re-screw it in and it'll be fine. So make sure you check the square as well. Now that I've fixed up my mistake, our box is square, 600 by 600. The top, this is going to be the seat area, but there's going to be something special done with this as well, so this is going to look a little bit different, but that's what it looks like. So we've got, just for those that want to know, I'm making the seat 500 high, 500 mil high. The top 100 mil or 4 inches is going to be foam for the cushion. So this section here from the top down to the bottom is 300, and then I've left another 100 for underneath, which I'll show you once I've done that how that's going to work. But there's an extra 100 mil to go from this base to the floor, but I'll show you that when I get to it. So that's the first box done. That's going to be Carolyn's seat. Now my seat is going to be different again because I'm actually doing an extra thing in my seat, which we'll show you when we get there. It's all pretty exciting, and we're looking forward to doing it because what it'll allow us to do is use our dinette in 3 different ways. I'll do that again. That's 3 different ways, not 2. So that's pretty exciting. I'm hoping it'll work. I've mocked it out and it looks like it'll work, but till I actually build them and put them up, I'm not sure. So anyway, fingers crossed it will, but keep watching and we'll see how we go. This is the cutout that I'm going to have to cut into the lid of the dinette chair. What's going to happen is this lid here, this is a little puppy dog we're looking after for a week, Louis. Hello. The lid's going to lift up this way, so we have storage under the seat. So I've started to cut out the template. I've used a drill to drill into the corners to allow the jigsaw to get in, and I've cut it out. Now I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming up where I've drilled through just to make it nice and square. But that's the part, the fixed part. Now I've got to cut out these slats, which will be fixed to a bit of aluminium that'll be sitting under there, so they'll stay fixed. And then this part here is going to be all one piece, and this is the part that's going to flip up to be the backrest of the chair when it's in the other orientation. And one of the reasons why things have been slow the last couple of weeks is it just continued to rain. Alright guys, I've cut the first part of my seat lid out. Okay, this will be the edge around the top of the seat, which will sit in there. It does fit. I've just got to put it on the right way. And then basically what this will do is this will be the back rest when the seat pulls back from the wall into the aisle of the seat, so we can face looking out the window. This is going to fold up like this and then become the back of that seat. So usually the back of the seat will be here facing the dinette, which the table will be here, and then the other seat will be on this side here, and it'll work the same way. The seat will slide back on a heavy duty roller. Once it's back, this will pop up and be the backrest for it. And these slats, which are cut out, they will be fixed with the first part. They will be fixed like so. There's one more still to go. There's going to be an aluminium tubing across here, which will anchor this down as the seat when it's slid backwards, and this will sit up as the seat. So that's how it's going to work, and then that will fold back onto the seat when it moves forward, and then eventually there'll be a hinge on this side which will allow us to lift the whole thing up this way to get into the storage in between. Alright guys, I've cut out all the bits, I've sanded them all off. Now what I've done is I've made a aluminium tubing. It's going underneath the lid of the seat. So all I've done, if you have a look when I made the bed out of the frame, I did the same thing. I've just measured up the aluminium, cut it, used the connectors and hammered them in. And what it's going to do is on the back, this will be sitting on the seat itself. That's where the edge, I've got to be inside here for it, because that's what the seat's going to be sitting on, the edge of the bottom part. So I had to make sure I was in here, which I've done, and that's how it'll sit there on the back. So when it folds down onto the top of the seat, it'll clear both edges of the below plywood. Now this section will fit in such as there, but it won't be screwed in. Okay, and there's the slats there. So these ones that are not connected to anything, they get screwed into the bottom channel below. That way, when this piece here lifts up to the back section, you've still got spots to hold the seat cushion, but then you have a back section which the cushion will go up against as well. So that's how that's going to work. So Carolyn can still sit on this when the seat's been moved out. Alright guys, here are the slats all positioned. So if we were to lift this up, which will be lifted this way to go get storage, everything moves that way. When we want to move the chair backwards to use it to look out the window, this will come up on a hinge. We'll have slats for the person to sit on and a backrest. So that's how it's going to work. So I've got to get the hinge for this, which will fix the top part of it, and then the hinge for the side so it can lift up, and then that's the top section of our dinette seat done. So that's worked out how I wanted it to. Alright, I've put the base of the seat cabinet in. I've marked along half of 19mm, because the plywood's 19mm. That's where I've drilled my countersunk holes all the way around. I've also glued it, and then I've screwed it with the HG 40mm screws all the way around. So that's the base done. Alright guys, so I've got these hinges. This is for lifting the seat completely up so I can get into the storage bay. They're the easy mount 94-degree hinge. Now I haven't used these before, so I've had to muck around just to make sure I know how they're working. But from what I see, I've got this right up against the lip here on either side, and I should put these right in the middle, but because I didn't have this right on the lip, I haven't, but it's worked okay. And then I've had to leave that little bit of a gap, which when I lift the lid up, it works, and it's sitting flush there on there. So to me, that's how it looks like it goes. I'm going to put an extra screw here, and then those two. And now I'm going over to the other side. So I'm putting just a little bit of a gap from the side of the wall here and putting right up against the lip here. So I'll screw that in, and then I'll leave the same sort of gap that's down here, and that should work. I'm also putting it, as I said, in the middle of this slide one, so if I have to move it forward or back on either one, I can do it. So I'm doing those ones first, and then when I'm sure, then I'll put the single ones into the single hole. Okay, so for this section for the backrest that lifts up, I've got the piano hinge, and I'm going to put it this way, but I'm going to make sure it sits flush with the seat top. So that means I'm going to have to take a bit off the far edge so it can move up a little bit. I've measured the end part so it sits right in the middle of the seat itself. So it's a continuous hinge, or piano hinge, fixed pins, 305mm long. Alright guys, I forgot to start filming this. This is it's the bracket I'm putting to hold up the seat lid. Now, by the instructions, it said I had to come out 85mm from there to the first point, and then 101 to the second point, and then from the corner right here up to the middle of the bracket was 125. So I've measured that out, and I've had to come across a little bit, as you can see, because the measurements actually didn't work out. So I've moved it across and put where the bracket sits at that mark, and I'm just screwing into there, and then I'm going to see if it works. So fingers crossed it does, but we'll soon find out. Okay, so that didn't work. So when I go to close it, it's doing the right thing, gets to there and stops because it hits the actual bracket itself. So it looks like I might have to move it towards the wall a bit. I've got the bracket in. Now what I had to do is I did it at 125mm, which is what they said from the corner up, and that's where I put the bracket. Then I've had to move this down the bottom across. This is where it was, and I've moved it that far across because when this comes down, it wasn't closing properly. It was hitting on here, and then I moved it a bit, and then it wasn't closing. It was on an angle like this. When I've moved it closer, it seems to be working fine. Now, I've got them at roughly, I had to guess, about 45mm for the first one, and then about 75mm for the second one, these two down the bottom. So it's a fair way off. The other thing that was a problem is this bottom screw here is very hard to get into with this beam here. So I probably wouldn't recommend using this one again. It does work though, like it's got a soft close, so when it gets down here it's supposed to soft close, but it's not great, but it does the trick. So that's one in. Now I've got to put the other one here for this one to stay up. So I've got a gas strut for that, so I'm going to work on getting that done now. And if you hadn't heard, and for something different, it's raining again. As you can hear, thunder. I don't know whether it's showing up, but it's coming down again. Something different from the last 3 weeks. Gotta love the rain. We need it, but I'm a bit over it at the moment. It makes it hard to work on the bus. Anyway, keep going. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop this video now because it's going to go for a long time otherwise. I'm going to cut it into 2 sections for you. So I'll finish there, and when I do the next part of it, it'll continue with the top of my chair and the special parts on my chair that we're going to do as well. Thanks for watching it. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for us. Once again, guys, I hope your build's going well. The rain in Queensland's made life a bit hard to work on the bus because I haven't got any undercover, so I've had to rely on just what I can do in the shed or what I can do in the bus without having to get outside. So for now, take care, and we'll catch up with you in the next video. Alright guys, see ya.